Hey, and welcome back to part 3 of how your nervous system affects your manifestations and creations. And this time we're going to have a look at the freeze style defense mechanism. So in nature, it is a dissociative defense mechanism. Now, what does that mean? Think about the best way to associate with this guy is think about what happens back on the plains of Africa where you've got a really big lion and it's chasing down the gazelle and it catches the gazelle and the gazelle goes into like total flop. This is the freeze defense mechanism at its best. What has just happened is that in the brain of the gazelle, it has been pumped with so many chemicals that's made it go paralytic, and it's also been pumped with opioids so that if it was to be eaten alive in that moment, it probably wouldn't feel too much. Now, you're probably like, what is the benefit of that? Why would I go paralytic and limp? Wouldn't I try and fight? Well, the benefit of it is often what can happen is when you play dead, then the thing that's caught you or is trying to eat you goes, oh, I'm going to leave you there because you're not going anywhere, and I'm going to go get the rest of my friends to come and eat you with me. And what's great is when they disappear, that freeze, I guess, wears off and you shake it off and then you run like hell for the hills. This is where the freeze defense mechanism is, in essence, the best way to associate with it, as in what happens in your body. So it is probably the oldest and one of the most powerful innate nervous system responses we have. And it's because when it happens, it often buys us time, meaning when we freeze and we be really still, whatever it is that's trying to catch us, eat us, hurt us, we have this moment of which of my other defense mechanisms might be appropriate to help me out of this situation. And you can choose, do I want to fight? Like, will I be better off if I attack this thing that's trying to get me? Would I be better off if I run like hell? Or fawn, would I be better off if I try and make friends with it, which we haven't got into yet, but we'll go into in the next video. But freeze is essentially when it's healthy and when it's in a regulated sense, it is the defense style mechanism that buys you time and allows you to be able to assess your situation and have a look and go, okay, well, is this really a dangerous situation or am I safe? And it just gives you those few split seconds. When your nervous system is regulated, freeze is a really powerful response to situation. Because again, remember, when we're talking about nervous systems, we're simply talking about how your unconscious mind is receiving the information about the situation in front of you and deciding whether you're safe or not. Because the defense mechanism in your nervous system is always responding to try and keep you alive. So when freeze is healthy and in a regulated nervous system, it creates this space for you to have responsiveness to life and responsiveness to what's going on around you. It gives you the ability to have acute awareness so you can assess what's going on and make the best decision for you to move forward with. It also helps with mindfulness, it gives you a poised readiness, and also brings peace and presence to a situation. Like I said, this one buys you time to decide how you want to react. Now, when this guy gets dysregulated, this is where the problems happen, or this is where all of that nervous system energy is off creating something in the unconscious that you don't know about, which will show up later at the same time you're moving towards that goal. So here are some of the tells that happen if your nervous system is going into a dysregulation in a freeze state. So the first one is dissociation from a right brain perspective. Now I know in the other video we spoke about dissociation left brain perspective, but when it's right brain, what's actually happening is your whole body is collapsing. Just like I was talking about the gazelle on the plains where he chased and it grabbed by the lion, like that flop, that is right brain dissociation when you get the opioid release and sort of the euphoria that happens. That's right brain dissociation. So if you're going into this, you'll kind of feel like your whole body will be like, there'll be a numbness, but it'll be a limp kind of numbness, different to the fight where you're still getting all the stuff done. And that's the big main difference between the left brain and the right brain dissociation. The other thing that can happen when you're becoming dysregulated in the freeze response is you'll find yourself like contracting and not wanting to partake in life. You'll find yourself sort of like wanting to blend in and not be noticed, not be too loud, not be seen. You want to isolate, so think about like all the introverts. This could potentially be sort of underpinning why it might be overactive if you find yourself going through a really big introvert space where you're just not wanting to deal with life or dealing with humans. Couch potato, space cadet, also hermiting is another really big sign when this becomes dysregulated, to as far as not wanting to achieve anything, not wanting to really go after anything in fear of having to connect, in fear of having to be seen and having to deal with that. The nervous system's just like, I am not safe, people are not safe, let's hide. And this can even go as far to schizophrenic disorders when there's been severe trauma or there's like big imbalances and huge dysregulation with this particular style defense mechanism. So this guy is really underpinned by the belief that people aren't safe. So as soon as they start to feel unsafe with people and situations, those tells will start to come up. So if you find your nervous system or your body starting to communicate to you like this and you're really wanting to withdraw, this is the point to catch it before the horse is bolted, before you want to be like, I just want to lock myself away from the world and I don't want to have anything to deal with it. So look, if you do find yourself here, I also want to acknowledge often when the nervous system can be here is that there can be extreme trauma behind it. And I highly recommend working with a fully qualified, trained trauma therapist to help you work through this space. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. And then what you want to do is start to create trust with yourself, because when you start to trust yourself, then you'll feel more trusting towards other people. And really take it slow, because what happens as soon as you start thawing out the nervous system, if it has been in a freeze, then you'll start to feel the other emotions underneath it. And there could be anger, sadness, rage, grief, and your body has gone into this freeze response because it doesn't want you to have to feel those things because it's scary and it doesn't feel good. So what's really underpinning a dysregulated freeze defense mechanism or nervous system response is the belief that people are unsafe. So that really is where, like, in terms of healing that, this is where the work is. And I'm not gonna lie, like, there could be severe trauma here that can have people end up in a complete freeze defense response. And if there is, I'm going to put a link below so that you can find somewhere in your local area that'll be able to help you and support you move through this. However, if it's not deep trauma related and you find yourself with some of these tells, here's a really effective strategy to help get things moving for you and bring yourself back into regulation. So the biggest thing with this is re-establishing trust with yourself. And that could be as simple as just setting little commitments that you follow through on to start building that trust between you and you. As that trust between you and you builds, then you'll be able to take that out into the external world, and you can start working on putting in boundaries that work for you, starting to express your needs in a way that they're able to be received and met, and also like get things moving in your body, because you want to start moving this energy. And often what can happen when you start moving the energy, there may be some other emotions underneath it, and that's okay. Sit with them and be present with them, because once that energy starts flowing, that's when you start moving. And there might be anger and there might be sadness, but just simply sit with them and hold them and let them pass. These are great signs. It means your nervous system is unthawing. And also some movement practices can really, really help with this. So this essentially, in a nutshell, is the freeze defense mechanism. When it is healthy, it gives you the ability to buy some time and assess the situation and choose the most appropriate action to move forward with. And when it's dysregulated, if you find yourself in any of these tells where you're wanting to hermit and pull away from the world, and you're dissociating and you're feeling your body going limp and you've just got low energy and you don't want to do anything, then if you try some of those strategies of starting to build that relationship with the trust between you and then starting to get your body moving and allowing yourself to feel those deeper emotions underneath it, then you'll find moving towards your goal is going to be a lot faster and smoother, because your nervous system energy isn't trapped over here trying to protect you from the things that you're not wanting to feel. And when you do have the courage to feel what's underneath this freeze, this is when it puts the power back into your creation, because you're able to take that life force energy that's stuck over here and put it into moving towards what it is that you are wanting to create for yourself and create with your life.